You ever feel like you just don't have enough hands to hold everything in place while you're building something? And even your big jack stands are just a little too short. Well, I'm going to show you how to solve that problem today. We're going to be building some tube stands. You can build these to whatever specs you need for the project you're doing. Let's get into it. So I need to start laying out my tubes for this. The problem is I don't have any way to support my tubes this high off the ground. So in today's project here, we're going to make some tube stands, some inexpensive tube stands. Just using scrap steel from my local steel yard. You can use whatever you got on yours. Or if you've got a bunch of steel laying around at your house, you can use that. And this should just be like a quick afternoon project. If you're kind of new to welding, this would be a really great introduction project for you to kind of practice on. So I went to my local steel yard here and I just kind of dug through their drops and cutoffs pile to come up with what I need to make mine. So I've got some 2-inch tube. It's about 1/8 wall. Each of these pieces are about 5 feet long. I'm just going to cut them in half. I got 4 because I'm going to make 4 stands. I got 4. These are 1 5/8. I want to say they're also about 1/8 wall. And they're just under 3 feet long. They're about 30 to 32 inches depending on which one. I got some 2-inch angle iron. I'm going to use that for the saddle on the top. And then we're going to drill a hole in the side on the big tube, weld a nut to it, and then make little T-handles with this rod onto a bolt to tighten it on there and lock those into place. And then I just got some scrap steel to make some base plates for, but these are big enough that I'll be able to drill them and bolt them to like a brake drum or a rotor or something like that, something heavy to kind of weight it on the bottom, or they'll just be big enough that I could throw like a weight on them or something to give them a little bit extra stability when they're extended up. All right, so here's how we're going to do this. We're going to have that larger 2-inch tube will be here. That's going to have the nut welded to it. And then our little bolt's going to be off that with a chunk of that rod to be like a T-handle to tighten it. That will be mounted on a plate. And then I'm going to drill the corners for mounting to like a drum or a rotor. I'm going to see how I use it. Right now I'm just going to be doing something light, but it would also be really easy to like add some gussets to this. It would add a lot more strength to it. So we have that. Then our smaller pipe is going to come in from the top. And then that will have that V channel in it, and so that way this guy will be adjustable. For building these yourself, you can use whatever tube you want. The real principles are you need a base and you need a tube or like some square tubing or something that fits inside the other tube fairly tightly. Like it doesn't need to be super tight fit because you're going to cinch it down, but you don't want it all floppy in there either. All right, I'm going to show you guys a little trick too. When you're marking stuff out, sometimes you mark it in the wrong spot, right? My pen's dying. Like, oh, here's my mark. Right, there's my mark. And you're like, oh no, I marked it in the wrong spot. With a Sharpie, you go over it again, wipe it right off like it never happened. That's how baby tubes are made. Like brake lines and stuff. So we put it in there. Knock it down. Go back to making baby tubes. So, next we'll get these little V-cuts, get our saddles on the top, and weld our handles onto these bolts. Well, I'm going to put these stands through their paces tomorrow, finishing off the tube work and getting this bumper finished up. If you like projects like this, click right here for another one. And if you like just building trucks and all that good stuff, you can click right there. We got a whole lot more coming up, man. So remember, if you don't get started, you can't get finished.